The orbital shuttles that ferried refugees down to New Thessaly Station always arrived at dawn, disgorging the casualties of the Sulcath War in grey, shivering waves. Marcus Vale, a recently discharged Terran Corps medic, volunteered on the docks every morning even though his own account balance flashed 1 credit, barely enough for a cup of recaf. He could have chased a better-paid post in the inner ring clinics, but that would have meant ignoring the haunted eyes of those who, like him, had lost whole futures in the fire. That dawn, an intake bot flagged a fragile silhouette wrapped in torn mourning silks. Subject, Valkyrie, female, widow, species, Zalari. The Zalari were avian descended, tall, hollow-boned, and catastrophically poor at thermoregulation. Their homeworld never dipped below tropical nights, so the bite of New Thessaly's 6 degrees Celsius breeze was lethal. Marcus located her among the crowds by following the tremor of chattering fangs. She stood rigid, clutching a dented travel crate and a data plate stamped death benefits pending. Refugee services had run out of thermals an hour earlier. The governor's austerity decree saved credits, not lives. Marcus' blood boiled. He turned out his pockets. 1 single, stubborn coin. The bazaar's vending kiosk offered exactly 1 emergency thermal blanket for 1 credit. He bought it, jogged back, and draped the heat weave over her trembling shoulders. Large golden eyes lifted. "You squander last resources," she whispered, translator crackling. "For stranger. For a widow of the line," he answered in Zalari ceremonial syntax, training he'd picked up patching avian troops on Hecate 4. For one who has lost her sky. Something in her posture unfolded, the way storm clouds part around a sunrise. She pressed a fist to her sternum in the Zalari vow of gratitude. Valkyrie owes Marcus Vale a life debt. He dismissed it with a medic's shrug. Field superstition, nothing more. All he felt was the ache of an empty wallet and a distant warmth where her wing-joint fingers had brushed his wrist. But destiny was already aligning talons around them both. Middle of debt, dreams and danger. A shared roof. 2 days later, Marcus found Valkyrie hunched outside the communal barracks. Eviction tag flashing over her bunk. Bureaucratic backlog meant her stipend wouldn't clear for weeks. Without funds, she would freeze long before spring. The medic's own habitation cubicle was scarcely bigger than a freight lift, but it had heat and, miracle, a second fold-down cot. He offered it without hesitation. She accepted with ritual formality, folding her mourning silks to the floor in lieu of an oath. Nights became lessons in cross-cultural coexistence. Zalari metabolized proteins differently, so Marcus learned to pan-sear imported Keela fish while she braved Terran chili stew with watery eyes and delighted chirps. He explained gravity while jokes. She sang low-throated sky hymns that vibrated the air vents. Slowly, the silence each carried, the kind born of funeral pyres and battlefield triage, began to thin. Yet New Thessaly Station simmered with unrest. Displaced miners blamed alien refugees for ration cuts. One evening, graffiti bloomed outside the transit concourse. Terran credits for Terrans. Marcus scraped it clean while Valkyrie watched, feathers ruffling with silent worry. To the smuggler's scheme. Work proved elusive until Marcus spotted a discreet flyer. Medtech wanted. High pay. No questions. The address led to a retrofitted cargo tug orbitside. There he met Captain Reese Caldwell, a charming rogue who trafficked in contraband medicine for frontline colonies. Caldwell offered hazard pay triple the clinic rate. Valkyrie surprised Marcus by urging him to accept. Credits feed many hungers, she reasoned. And truth, you miss the pulse of crisis. She wasn't wrong. The stillness of civilian life left his hands twitching for gauze and adrenostims. So Marcus signed on for a single run, promising to return before the ration cycle reset. Valkyrie slipped her downy scarf around his neck to guard the wind that seeks your spine. He laughed, but he wore it under his vac suit all the same. The run went sideways before their engines cooled at the drop point. A Sulcath privateer wing ambushed them, hungry for illicit cargo. Caldwell's pilot evaded capture, but plasma flak shredded their medbay. Marcus spent 23 hours patching smugglers with improvised stasis foam while the tug limped home on half-spun thrusters. He came back richer, bruised, exhausted but alive, and found Valkyrie waiting at the dock, blanket in hand. Without protocol she wrapped him, scolding in rapid Zalari clicks that the translator rendered as affectionate profanity. In that embrace, Marcus realized no currency could match the comfort of arms that expected his return. 3. Riot on the ring. Prosperity was brief. Anti-alien sentiment boiled over when supply drones skipped deliveries. A mob formed in the lower ring, torches hissing with ion arcs. They stormed the refugee ward, overturning stalls and ripping heater coils from the walls. Marcus hurried there with a satchel of field kits. Valkyrie shadowed him despite protests. They found chaos. Terran miners pitted against frail offworlders, security drones struggling to discriminate friend from foe. When a plasma bottle exploded near a cluster of Zalari chicks, Valkyrie launched forward, wings flared to shield them. Shrapnel slashed her forearm. Blood as bright as sunrise mist spattered the deck. The sight galvanized Marcus. He stood atop a ration crate and bellowed in his parade ground voice. You fight ghosts of shortage while the real enemy, war profiteers, gorges in orbit. Look around, we bleed the same. His words, amplified by drone speakers, stole momentum from the riot. Station marshals re-established order. Emergency medics arrived. Valkyrie received sutures from a rattled intern until Marcus elbowed in to finish the job properly. Her pain crest thrummed against his fingers. Still, her eyes clung to him with trust as absolute as vacuum. Local news streams captured the speech. Within hours, donations poured in. The governor, eager to save face, funneled new heaters and fresh blankets to the ward. Anonymous senders cleared Valkyrie's stipend backlog and, astonishingly, credited Marcus with a civilian service medal. That night, celebration brewed in their cubicle, a single lamp burning amber, a borrowed bottle of Zalari nectar tasting of peppered honey. Valkyrie toasted to debts repaid and bonds unbroken. Marcus answered with Terran tradition, clinking cups. Silence settled, soft but electric. She reached to smooth a bandage he'd forgotten on his jawline. You spent last credit on my warmth, she murmured, voice husky. Allow me to return endless warmth. Feathers brushed his cheek, lighter than breath. The kiss that followed tasted of starlight and shared survival. Ending, 2 hearts, 1 hearth. 1. Home forged in orbit. They moved to a larger quarter funded by collective gratitude. Marcus installed dual-mode climate panels so Valkyrie could sunsoak while he lounged in Terran cool shade. She painted the bulkheads with skyglyphs that spoke of dawn ever rising. He framed his service patch beside them. The life debt evolved into partnership documents stamped by both governments, a rarity that made news feeds under the headline Human Zalari Union symbolizes post-war healing. Wedding gifts arrived from strangers. Artisanal blankets, embroidered with Terran constellations and Zalari windscripts intertwining like fingers.